Hello. There we go. Moving my other camera over. There we go. So I'm on Facebook and YouTube. I don't know if anyone's going to turn up because it is Thanksgiving in the United States. I'm here in Canada. We had ours ages ago. And Thanksgiving isn't a big deal here in Canada. And I lived in Australia for many years. They don't have it there at all. So, but I know America, it's a big deal in America. Really big deal. So I'm assuming I won't get many Americans here. But that's okay. I'm scheduled to do a live, so I'm doing a live. And I get people all over the world, not just Americans, but I think most of my audience is American. Okay. So we're just waiting to see if anyone turns up on Thanksgiving. Michigan, have you finished eating? Is your Thanksgiving, what time is it there? Probably, oh no, you might, oh, you got little kids too, so it's a little bit different. So how is your Thanksgiving going? Yeah, I was just saying, in Canada here, our Thanksgiving was around April 10th. It's around there. Not April, sorry, October. And it's not as big a deal here. Connecticut. Hello, Valerie. I'm actually getting a few people on here, even though it's Thanksgiving. That's okay. It'll just be a low-key live, and that's okay with me. I don't mind low-key. My daughter and I were filming podcasts today. Hi, Natasha, Tampa. Is Tampa separate from Tampa Bay, or is it all the same thing? Okay, 7:30. We did ours early afternoon. Oh, okay, because you got little kids too. I think that makes a difference. Some people have like a really big lunch for Christmas and Thanksgiving instead of dinner. New York, just starting desserts, pumpkin and pumpkin pie. God. Oh, I haven't had that in a long time. I'm allergic to everything, so I can't eat most foods. I used to be able to, though. Pumpkin pie was probably my favorite pie. A lot of people eat early. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, so let's get going with the live. My name's Lisa. I'm a mom and a parenting coach, and I'm also a grandmother. And so I'm just reading your names here. And this is our live. Oh, Illinois. Hi, Tina. Illinois. Anyway, what was I saying? I'm all distracted. I don't know why. UK and Leona. Sorry, I'm all distracted. I'm talking about a million different things. Okay, come on, Lisa. Think. Anyway, my daughter and I were filming podcasts today, and so we were getting all giggly. We're getting really silly on these podcasts because she's getting into the swing of it more. She's more reserved. She's in public, not in private. But in public, and doing the podcast as public. So yeah, she's more reserved, but I could see her loosening up now. So we're really having a lot of fun with the podcast. Hi, Mackenzie from Florida. Sonia from Ontario. Welcome. Okay, check out the link above, or you can go to my website, BratBusters.com. Our Black Friday sale starts tomorrow morning. Check it out. All the details are on the website. You can also get our free behavior board, and the boot camp courses are all that's on sale. Those are my courses. The coaching isn't. And coaching is a wait list for that. So you can check all that out on my website. And Black Friday sale starts tomorrow morning. Very excited about that. I just saw something today in Costco that I spent a fortune for 2 weeks ago. And it is a lot less money now. Oh, that's killer. Just killer. Anyway, I hate stuff like that. So anyway, the sale's tomorrow. So don't buy any courses today. Just wait till tomorrow. So Adelaide, South Australia, Australia. I never made it to down south. I lived in Sydney and Brisbane for like about 20 years, but I never made it down south because I was just there having kids and raising kids in the suburbs. So, okay, Lisa Marie, that's my name, Lisa Marie. I went to school with I think about 7 Lisas, and 6 out of 7 were Lisa Maries. So yeah, they go very well together. And Elvis Presley's daughter was Lisa Marie. I think I told that story about how, was it on, I don't know, I talked to so many different platforms, but I just told a story yesterday about how I said that I was Elvis's first daughter, Lisa Marie, and then he lost track of me somehow. I told this when I was a little kid. And then he named his second daughter Lisa Marie because he missed me so much. I was adopted. So when you're adopted, you can have all sorts of fantasies. I think Costco will price match and refund the difference within 30 days. Yeah, I didn't buy it at Costco. I bought it somewhere else. Ugh. Ugh. So frustrating. Yeah, I kind of knew that was coming because I knew Black Friday was coming. So I sort of realized, anyway, I don't mind spending money. I'm not a big stuff person though. Like, stuff doesn't do it for me, but I don't like wasting money. I don't mind spending, but I hate wasting money. I'm obsessed with it. It's the weirdest thing. I could tell you so many weird stories about how I hate wasting money, but I don't mind spending it. It's weird. Or treating people to things and that, but I don't like waste. Oh, it's weird. Okay. Yeah, Costco was pretty crazy today. Anyway, okay, so let's get going with your questions. I'll do my best here. Hello, I'm on YouTube also. It's Thanksgiving in the United States. I'm in Canada, but yeah, I don't expect it to be too busy today. Bedtime tips. I have a whole process on bedtime. It's in both of my courses, my boot camp courses, and the Black Friday sale starts tomorrow morning if you're interested. Anyway, I have bedtime battles. It's a whole section, and there's two parts: how to get them in bed, then how to keep them there. Getting them in bed is easy. It's keeping them there that's hard. You just keep walking them back to bed, not talking to them. It's sort of a little bit more detailed than that, but you just keep walking them back to bed, walking them back to bed, walking them back to bed. Don't talk to them. Don't look at them. Eventually, they'll give in. You got to win these battles. Happy Turkey Day from West Virginia. Name calling, mocking, swearing, and middle finger attitude or behavior. Yeah, you just I would put down no name calling or bad words. I would just start there. Or bad gestures. So it's all that rude stuff, but you can't put don't be rude. You got to be specific. No bad words, no name calling, no giving the finger. Okay. That is the rule. It's all sort of in the same category. And then there's a consequence. Use the behavior board. It's at BratBusters.com. And you just put that as a rule. And then there's a consequence. That kind of stuff, it goes away once you're a leader. Bad attitude is the very last thing to go. And it happens organically once you've worked on your leadership. Your leadership is everything. You lead, they will follow. Everyone wants to fix the kids. We don't do that here. We teach parents. We fix parents. Kids are not broken. They're just reacting to your parenting or your lack of leadership. That's all it is. So I managed to get respect with hundreds of kids, teenagers, toddlers. Did I just get them on a good day? I doubt that, because I got difficult kids to work with sometimes, like some really challenging ones. But I managed to get their respect. That was all me. That's leadership. I work for that. You got to earn it. And that's all I teach here is how to get respect. You give respect to get it. Okay. Oh, also, we've made some changes to our payment stuff, so you can use credit card now. My daughter was bugging me about that for ages. We could only use PayPal. I've been using PayPal for years and years and years. And now we've changed it. You can use credit cards too, just so you know. The course is available for sale everywhere. Yeah, it's all in US dollars because all my business expenses are run in US dollars. So yeah, it's available anywhere in the world. All my clients are all over the world. So yeah, but don't buy anything today except coaching. It doesn't go on sale, but don't buy courses today. Wait till tomorrow morning, Black Friday. And we don't give refunds, and you know what I mean if you buy it today. Just gets too confusing. Okay, I have a question. My 21-month-old is having a bit of trouble sharing and snacking, but with him being so young, I don't know what to do again. Okay, you cannot teach a little toddler how to share, but you can teach them how not to grab stuff and how not to hit. And you use consistent corrective actions. No words, you just say one word, no, just gets the ball rolling. So when he grabs or hits or grabs something, whatever, you say no, and then you just pull him away. It's like a bit of a show of what you don't want. So make sure that you do something that kind of hurts him, like you pull him away from the fun. When I say hurts, I don't mean physically. So he doesn't want to be pulled away from the fun. He doesn't want the fun being taken away from him. So you can either take a toy away, remove him from the play, whatever's going on, just for a minute or so, or a few minutes. But you hold them or put the toy away until they've calmed down while they're still acting crazy, because you never reward the crazy, you reward the calm. So if you were to let them go back and play when they're still having a tantrum and acting like a goof, you know what I mean? then they know that works. They'll eventually learn, not right away. It'll take months probably for them to really stop having tantrums. They just have to outgrow them. But they will start, the tantrums and the fits, the scenes, the meltdowns will start to diminish when you handle them correctly by ignoring them. They'll start to diminish, but over time. Okay, so yeah, but if you were to allow them back into the fun or whatever it is that's going on, while they're still acting crazy, you're actually rewarding the crazy. So be careful with that. Wait till they calm down. 3-year-old, sweetest, but has a terrible time with transitions and whining and attitude when he doesn't like something. Very strong-willed, advanced in language development, so smart, but is emotionally difficult. Advice. It'll just take time. The more he learns that he can't have everything when he wants, how he wants, and when, everything he wants going his way. Sorry, I'm all fuddled up today. I don't know what's wrong with me. It must be the toque. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, the sooner he learns this, that he can't have everything his own way, the better. But initially, he's going to fight you on it. It sort of says that he thinks he's in charge right now. Because at 3 years old, they don't usually act like that. 3 is a fork in the road. By the age of 3, if you've been a leader up until then, by the age of 3, they either get really easy or they start to challenge you, which means that you're not a leader. So you got to work on your leadership skills, and that stuff generally doesn't happen. He'll just learn. He just figures right now that he's got a chance of being in charge. And when you say strong-willed, there's nothing wrong with being strong-willed, but you mean defiant. There's a bit of a difference there. So he's defiant. Yeah. What do you do if a child comes to you and says his brother hit him, but you didn't see it? Well, I don't know. You kind of have to see it. What does the brother say? And how old are they? I don't know. There's too many factors around that one. I need to know the age and what did the brother say? Maybe the other brother will say, yeah, I did hit him. Happy Thanksgiving from Kentucky. Hello, Judy. Yeah, I'm Canadian. We had Thanksgiving about 6 weeks ago. Gosh, no, more like about 6 weeks ago, I guess. How do I get your behavior board? It's at BratBusters.com. And the Black Friday sale starts tomorrow morning. So don't buy courses today. Wait till tomorrow if you're interested in courses. Suggestions for a 15-year-old who refuses to go to school, go to work, whatever. Okay, get out of bed. Screen time is limited. Okay, I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. They're my favorite age, by the way. And this is a slow burn. Teenagers, you're not going to fix anything overnight. And it's all you and your relationship with that teenager. When people hire me to work with them, parenting their teenagers, it's all about connecting with them first before we even start to address the behavior. We can't address that until we've got your connection going a little bit stronger. It's that mutual respect. Okay, number 1, this is with teenagers. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate as much as possible. It goes something like this. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Go back and forth. Okay, number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff. Save your energy for the big stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to know what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to know what I did this morning? And laugh it off. We're all allowed to make mistakes. Number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. Often I'll guide parents in how to connect with their teenager, and they're going out having fun with them in a movie or something. And then I always say, do not discuss the bad times when you're connecting with them. Sure enough, every so often a parent will slip through that statement. They'll say something like this. Oh, this is wonderful. I love going out with you and having a good time. I've really missed you the last 2 years when you've been so difficult. You can't figure out why they gave you the finger and left. Anyway, so number 5 is you can be a right fighter with teenagers, or you can be happy. You usually are right. If you're arguing with your teenager, they often get ridiculous, and they're very aware of that, by the way. They know you're right and they know they're wrong, okay? But they'll still fight anyway. So you can be a right fighter and fight with them, or you can be happy. There's no point in being a right fighter. That's kind of the same with adults too. You can be a right fighter or you can be happy. The other person knows you're right usually. If you are right, if you're not, shut up, okay? Too many people get into arguments. What's the point? Someone said, oh, thank you. I'll definitely put that into practice. I have no idea what I said. Okay, I hope I said something of value. Do you have to purchase a course to reserve the Do you have to purchase a course to receive the behavior board? I'm sorry for all the questions. I'm new. Oh, welcome, Emma. Anna. Sorry about that. Jeez, I'm just so fuddled today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm mixing up all my words. Okay. No, you don't. The behavior board's completely free, and it always will be. I haven't changed that in 17 years. So yeah, no, that's completely free. You just have to sign up for the newsletter. Now you do have to jump through some hoops to get that behavior board. The reason is if you're signing up to a newsletter, we are legally bound to make you jump through hoops so that you have to confirm subscription. It's a legal thing. We cannot just collect emails and send you stuff. It's against the law as a business. So that's why we're very careful about all that stuff. So yeah, you're going to have to sign up for Podia. You're going to have to get a subscription to Podia. It's all free. Confirm your subscription, then you'll get the email with the behavior board in it. It's a legality in business. You're not allowed to just send out stuff without consent. That's basically the thing. We need your consent. So, and my daughter sets all that sort of stuff up. I think I did that on my own actually, but she's sort of perfected everything. She's fixed everything up. But yeah, we have to be very careful in business. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Canadian. We had our 6 weeks ago, but happy Thanksgiving to all the Americans out there or on here. It was funny. I lived in Australia for about 20 years, and I had no North American friends at all. In all those years, you'd think I would have had one. Isn't that weird? I never searched them out, though. If I'm going to move somewhere, I just ensconce myself wherever I am, right? So anyway, but the funny thing is that the longer I was there, I never picked up the Australian accent, all the slang I did, of course, in order to function there. But I sounded more like an American after being there for so many years because I had no Canadian people to talk to, none. And all our TV was American. So I went to Australia and came back sounding American to Canada. That's funny. Real fighters never back down. Right fighters never back down. Yeah, they're just, it's usually an insecurity. A secure, confident person can let the other person think they're right, right? If you know you're right, why do you need to prove it, right? I use the behavior board with my 5-year-old and it works. I love that my husband and I are both on the board. That's what makes it work. Because if you're not on the board, what's the point? Yeah, I invented that. I put parents on there because the first year I started my business, it was about 17, 18 years ago. And I didn't have a behavior board because I've never used one. And I thought, how on earth am I going to get this across to parents that you have to be accountable? I couldn't articulate it because you can be good at something, but teaching it's a whole other thing. And then I made up the behavior board and put the parents on it, changed everything. I haven't changed that board in 17 years. It's just an accountability chart for everybody. Lots of husbands and wives use it on each other. Also, they have a separate one for each other. Like you can't be late anymore if you are, stuff like that. I won't go into detail, but some are, quite racy. Actually, they've shown me. Okay, I signed up for the newsletter and I did receive a welcome email, but didn't see anything for the behavior board. It's all in there. Go through the steps. We've gone through it. We just confirmed it all and updated it all this week. It is very laid out. You just must be missing something, or you might have put the wrong email in. We've never had it happen where people have followed the steps and not got it. So that's either you put the wrong email in or you missed a step. Because we've just perfected this now. Okay, if you've got 2 kids and they're hitting and one says, no, I didn't, then what you do is you interview them together, but they each take a turn talking about it. And you just treat it like you're a detective doing an interview. So let me see now, what happened there? You tell me what happened. You can't interrupt. It's his turn. He's got 5 minutes. Start a timer. 5 minutes. What happened? Then you say, okay, thanks for that. Now you tell me your side of the story, blah, 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 blah. And then hours later, you interview them separately. Okay. And then you say, this is hours later, you say to one of them, so can you tell me that story again? And then the one who is lying will change the facts. The truth never changes, lies change. That's generally, and then just call it. Say, I've decided, I did the interviews, I've decided that you're lying. So here's the consequence for lying. Or here's the consequence for hitting, and then you get a consequence for lying about it, or whatever it is. I don't know. I can't figure that out. It's probably the same kid if he lied and hit. Yeah. So anyway, you decide. Hi, Tabitha. Tabitha's on YouTube. She keeps me in line. Just like my daughters like that too. They keep me in line. They remember stuff I've said. I Call me on it. Lots of people don't understand accountability. Your board is amazing for everything, including relationships. 100%. Lots of my clients take it to work. If they have staff, they'll take it to work and use it with them too. They have to be careful with that, though. They use it more with humor, but still, if you're late, you have to bring some donuts. If you're more than 10 minutes late, you have to bring donuts and coffee for everybody. The boss is on there too, so that's what makes it work. Yeah, a lot of people don't have any sense of accountability. Like, you can tell how someone was raised. Every so often, I live downtown, every so often I'll see someone fighting a parking ticket. They'll actually yell at the poor ticket person. And they'll say, I was only here for 2 minutes. It's still 2 illegal minutes. Like, what, and they'll argue. And I think, oh, they weren't raised by a leader. They were raised with zero accountability. You lie, you kick, you scream your way out of anything that you're guilty of. It's such a shameful way to be. I just think it's ugly. Every time I see someone like that, I just think, oh God, you're an ugly human being. I just hate that. Yelling at this poor ticket person for doing their job when you were wrong. I just find that amazing. Isn't that just amazing? Or I don't know. Have you ever done that? Like, if you have, sorry. Well, I'm not sorry about that. It's a lack of accountability. Plus, bullying someone else for just doing their job. 4-year-old, week 1 of behavior board. I started with shoes in the cubby when we get home. Do I remind her for the first few days? Yeah, she's only 4. You remind her and you set a timer. So when you're just about to go inside, have a timer with you and say, okay, so you've got 5 minutes to put your stuff away and it starts now. That's how you do it. And then don't talk. You let that alarm go off. If she just doesn't do anything, let the alarm go off. Okay. And then you go find her and you say, okay, you broke the rule. The timer went up. Okay, I'll do it now. And she ran too late. Here's the consequence. So yeah, she'll eventually learn. Just stay calm and follow through. Everyone expects everything to work on day 1. It doesn't work that way. It might take a few weeks before they really catch on. But the thing is, you just got to follow through. You do the right thing, they eventually will do the right thing too. But you got to do it for repetition. Oftentimes, as the older they get, they're used to you starting something and then not following through. It's the follow through. My kids knew if I said something, 100% it was going to happen. 100%. So there was no questioning me. If I said, oh, that wasn't very good, here's the consequence, they knew it was going to happen. There was just they wouldn't even have thought of, oh, maybe it won't, or maybe she'll go, but maybe we can talk her out of it. No way. Just be careful what you say. If you're going to be a person who's reliable and trustworthy and follows through, be careful what you say, because you got to do what you say and say what you mean, right? Do what you mean and mean what you say. Mean what you do and say what you mean. Oh, for goodness sake. What is that saying? Say what you mean and mean what you say. Mean what you say and say what you mean. Isn't there a do in there? Do what you say and say what you do and mean. Oh, my God. Not the brightest bulb in my... I'm just off today. I don't know what's going on with me today. Just a bit dopey today. More so than normal. 3-year-old keeps being destructive with toys, throwing. How do we stop it? Every time they throw something, say no and put it away and leave it away for like a whole day if they keep doing that. But also use a toy rotation system so there aren't very many toys out. I find the kids who are the least respectful of their possessions have the most crap hanging around, clutter everywhere. They don't respect, they're walking all over everything. So they've been taught to not respect things by having that clutter around. So yeah, get a toy rotation system in place, get very organized, and they're less likely to disrespect things. Do what you say and say what you mean. Do what you say and say what you mean. Do what you say and say what you mean. So there is a do and a say and a mean in there. Thanks, Tabitha. I'll go back and recheck. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, with the line. Good. I better write that down. Do what you say and say what you mean. Is that right? Do what you say and say what you mean. See, I've got it all mixed up in my head now. I live by that now. LOL. Do what you say and say. I've probably said it correctly in the past, have I? It's just one of those sayings that if you don't say it, if you say it and you start thinking about it, then... Thank you. I'm an adult ADD and learning what my parents didn't know, and me, I feel so dumbfounded. Again, I'm an old adult and ADD and learning what my parents didn't know, and me, I feel so dumbfounded. I don't quite know what you mean by that. I want to comment. I have an idea what you mean, but I could be wrong. So When they earn a chore like vacuuming, but do a really poor job, do you address it or let it go? You decide that ahead of time. You say, here's the chore and this is how it has to be done. And if it's not done correctly, like if obviously, go easy on that though. Like vacuuming, if they go like that twice in a room and that's it, I'd say that's not vacuuming a room. You have to catch everything. But be careful with that. Okay, don't go overboard with being too fussy. They don't have to get all the attachments and do all the edging. Or if they do, then put that down. If they're older, you can put that down too. But be very specific up front. And then say if it's not done correctly, then it's not done. And while they're still doing it, you can say, ooh, that's not quite what I meant. So yeah. Or say what you mean and do what you say. I'm going to have to look that up later. There's probably a few different ways of saying that. I was talking to a client the other day and they said something, and it was one of those really common sayings, but I thought, oh, nip it in the bud. And she said, I wanted to nip it in the butt. And I said, is that nip it in the bud or butt? And we both went like this, huh? And her husband was there and he goes, it's bud, because you nip a flower in the bud. That's where it comes from. And the wife and I were like, what? Which one is it? Sometimes you hear things and yeah, maybe you've been saying things wrong your whole life. Don't even know it. And she said she's been saying that her whole life. Didn't even know it. It was wrong. I mean what I say and say what I mean. But where's the do? Don't you do what you say and you mean? Isn't there a do in there? Do it. Oh, geez, that's going to drive me nuts now. It's the little, I don't have a temper, but little things get on my nerves like that because I want to know exactly what it is now. It's like I don't have a temper with people, but if I can't get a zipper up, I get real mad. I get mad at inanimate objects. We're all weird in some ways. Okay, is it okay to give comfort to a toddler that is tantruming when he asks for comfort? Nope, nope. What he's saying is validate the tantrum, make me feel better, make the tantrum, reward it with attention. No. If they're tantruming, you're just completely ignoring it. If they're grabbing onto you, you peel them off like a banana peel, and don't even look at them. Don't say anything. And then when they're done, I need a hug. You know that they're finished with the tantrum and they're doing that kind of stuff. You just go like this. You say, you're okay. Pat them on the back. Do you want to go read a book? Do not go into this, oh, I love you. That is not a love hug or a love pat or a love hand hold. That is just validate the tantrum stuff. It's not love. Give them love any other time, but not around a tantrum. Okay, love your tips and tricks. Brittany Hember started being more of a leader with my 4-year-old, and it's been helpful. Great advice all around. Oh, excellent. Thanks for your support. Yeah, you just got to be consistent. It does take time. And also they remember the old you. So they're usually going to fight back harder. Things usually do get worse before they get better because they remember the old you when you were giving into stuff and not following through. How can I avoid yelling and lecturing my children? Well, people do that because they don't know what else to do. Just keep following all the stuff I teach. It's a big, how can you stop? So what do you do instead? I have a whole course on that. So by the way, Black Friday sale starts tomorrow on the courses, the toddler one and it's the 2 boot camp courses. But yeah, it's a whole system. Basically, you meet their needs and manage their wants. Their needs are connection. Their needs are also guidance and discipline. Because if you don't discipline your children when they're young, they won't have self-discipline as they grow up. My kids were self-disciplined by about 3.5. So I didn't have to discipline them anymore. I would just say, "Ooh, what was that? Oh, sorry, mommy." And then how about no TV tonight? I mean, that's how easy it was. But then they just stopped. They didn't act up. Yeah. So it's self-discipline is what you're aiming for. You don't want to be disciplining your kids forever. You just want to discipline them to show them how to be self-disciplined. Plus, you have to be on that behavior board too. You have to be accountable too, because they're watching you. If you're not accountable, you're just an authority or a dictator. I don't do that. Okay, I'm going to get going over to Instagram now. Check out BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board tomorrow morning. The Black Friday sale starts on the boot camp courses, and you can look into coaching. There's a wait list for that. So I'm just headed over to, where am I now? I'm on Facebook. I'm headed over, that Joel Mayo. He is not me. Joel Mayo is impersonating me. Tons of people are, but Joel Mayo is taking money from people. He's pretending to be me. So if you see a Joel Mayo on anywhere, it's not me. He's just using all my videos pretending to be me. But it's just bothering us because he's taking money off parents pretending to be me. I don't care if people put my information out there and get, views. He's got 50,000 followers, just nothing but using my videos. That's it. That's all he posts. But yeah, it's the money that he's taking that bothers me. So I don't know what he's giving you. I don't know what he could give you because he's not me. What the heck is he giving you in a subscription? Anyways, just letting you know that's not me. One of the imposters out there. So anyway, happy parenting. I'm heading over to Instagram and I'm also on YouTube. Bye now. Sorry, YouTube. I just have to get all the buttons pushed to get over to Instagram. I think I said that wrong. There we go. There we go. Okay. Not quite a few people today, actually. And even though it's Thanksgiving in the States, I get people all over the world, but most of my followers are American. I get very few Canadian clients in coaching. It's mostly Americans and all over the world, but very few Canadian. It's interesting, isn't it? I'm Canadian. Okay, we're just waiting for everyone to turn up. Let me see. I got 70 people so far on Thanksgiving, which is a wonderful turnout for Thanksgiving. Thanks so much for being here. Anyway, let's get going with the live. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom, and I'm also a grandmother. If you look at BratBusters.com, you can get my free behavior board, my 2 boot camp courses. The sale starts tomorrow on those boot camp courses, not on the coaching. And with coaching, that's one-on-one with me. There is a wait list for that, but you can check into that if you want. I don't know why, but coaching doesn't slow down over Christmas. I always thought it would, but yeah, it was. I had one of my busiest Christmas seasons last Christmas with coaching. Isn't that weird? I would think no, but maybe you got the kids at home. Maybe that's it. But no, it's not normally like that. But yeah, so we'll see what happens this Christmas. Okay. Okay, so let's get going. Okay. Nice I like this one. I'm going to tell you why. Nice holiday. This is Thanksgiving that Christy is talking about. But I felt judgment when my 20-month-old wouldn't sit at the table for 5 minutes. The only people that could be judging you are people who don't know anything about kids. A 20-month-old sitting at the table with a bunch of people for 5 minutes. They don't want to do it. Big deal. Who cares? Feed them somewhere else, get them fed beforehand, feed them before the big dinner so that you can just relax and they can go play in a corner somewhere. Yeah. Anyone who would judge you over that, they don't have kids, or else if they do, they're in denial that their kids were ever like that. Oh, I had someone on Facebook. Oh, I went after them. My daughter was with me, unfortunately. So it was a comment on Facebook. And the comment it was on a video, and I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what the video was, but the comment was, the only children that have tantrums are those who are not parented properly. My child would never have a tantrum. I had to withhold myself. Talk about holier than thou judgment. I'm holding back now even. So you know why that made me so mad? All I ended up writing was wrong, exclamation. But yeah, anyone who reads that, who their kid does have tantrums, I don't want them to think it's bad parenting. So what, Miss Perfect? You just have kids who don't tantrum. One of mine didn't tantrum. Wasn't me. They're either born to tantrum or they're never going to. I knew someone once who had kids who never tantrum, was very judgmental about it. Then they had another child who was the pro at tantrums. So yeah, we were all enjoying that. If they tantrum, it has nothing to do with you. If they have them, getting them out of tantrums is to do with you. But if they start having them, that's just in their basic nature. But yeah, I was typing out all this stuff. And my daughter says, Mom, delete, delete, delete. I don't like bullying. And that was so holier than thou. Oh, get that needle out of your butt. Okay, shut up, Lisa. I don't like bullying. Gets on my nerves. Okay. Okay. Thank you. LOL. Okay, I thought the same thing. Yeah, get over yourself. A 20-month-old won't sit at the table for 5 minutes. Ooh, terrible parenting. What 20-month-old will sit at a table for 5 minutes? That's the question. Try and find one that will. How do I get my 7-year-old to stop lying? Consequences. That's how we all live, by consequences. That's why we pay our taxes. We don't want to go to jail. That's why we pay our mortgage or our rent. We don't want to be homeless, right? Consequences. Put down no lying on the behavior board. It's completely free. Go to BratBusters.com. It's completely free. By the way, my website is BratBusters.com. There are tons of, I've got a big following now. There are tons of imposters out there taking money from innocent parents thinking it's me. Frustrating, but there's nothing I can do about it. You shut them down one place, they open up another place. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, my website's BratBusters.com, or go to the link above. And but yeah, you can get the behavior board. It's completely free. It's all the instructions on how to do this. Put no lying as the rule, and then follow it up with consequences. That's how we all learn. So I'm scrolling ahead to make sure you're still here while I answer. And also, I like to mix in other stuff. I don't just want to be talking about discipline, which is what everyone asks me about on here, because as you know by now, discipline is not really what I teach. I teach connection. That gives you the power to discipline, because once you're connected, your children want to please you. That's a natural order of things. You become a leader, a mentor, someone that they look up to, because you make them feel good about themselves. My very first video here on Instagram is called Example of Leadership Parenting. It's the pool story. And the pool story explains leadership parenting better than anything else. I deal with bad behavior, then I focus on the good kid. I don't discuss bad behavior. When do you discuss bad behavior? Never. What is the point? What is the point in discussing bad behavior? Where you put your energy, where you put all your big discussions is what grows. Where you put your energy and focus in discussions is what grows. You keep focusing on bad behavior, you're going to keep getting more of it. So I teach connection. Discipline is thrown in, but it's a small part of everything I teach. It's connection. That's why you're on that behavior board, and the connection is really your consequence. So if you yell at the kids, the consequence is you have to play hide and seek for 10 minutes or something like that, something they would enjoy. Obviously not with an 18-year-old, it's a bit different, but you get the idea. This one I wrote down, it was a comment on here, and someone was saying that they don't want their kids not to like them and all this stuff. That's why they don't want to discipline. Discipline is kindness, by the way. And then someone wrote back, and they did it, like, it was really cute the way they said it. They said, put your backbone where your wishbone is and stop trying to be your kid's bestie. I get that, but I was buddies with my kids for sure. I got all that pesky discipline cemented. It was mutual respect, two-way with my kids. I was very much the leader, though. If they ever acted out, I'll tell you, I was mom like that. Instantly. But I was besties with my kids for sure. So you can be best friends with your kids, like in a mother-child sort of way. But yeah, we goofed around, had lots of fun. But they knew if they ever stepped a toe out of line, I was mom. I was always mom before I was anything else. So you can be friends with your kids. That's the goal here, connection. You want to be friends with your kids, but your parent first. That's your number one goal. Even to this day, my daughter definitely runs me in the business. She keeps me on track. She does all the planning, marketing, social media. She's very organized. She's very just her way, right? I'm more of a loose cannon. I don't know. I have no control over what I say. What you see is what you get. And she keeps me in line. But so she's definitely sort of more the leader in the business. But I'm mom. Like when push comes to shove, I'm mom. Like if we're crossing a street, I'll often go like this, put my arm out to stop her. I'm mom. Right? That role is always cemented in the number one role in my relationship with my children, but my daughter's my best friend. Close with my son too, but we work together, my daughter and I. So yeah. And it's women. It's a woman thing. Talk about everything. It was cute. Her husband once, we were walking to the gym, the three of us, my daughter, her husband, and I. And we're walking to the gym, and my daughter and I were discussing something that had happened. And then we keep walking. And then a while later, we started talking about it again. And he said, this is a difference between men and women. And he said to us, he said, Lisa, like, you guys already talked about that. And I said, yeah, and we're going to talk about it 20 more times. That's women. We're just different. We like to talk about the exact same thing 20 times or 50 times. It's just the way we are. Whereas men discuss something and then it's all done. Just struck me as funny, the difference between men and women. I looked at him like he was nuts. Yeah, I know. We're going to talk about 20 more times. Okay, I'm actually surprised how many people turned up on Thanksgiving because most of my audience is American. So happy Thanksgiving, my American neighbors. It's funny. There's evidently some competition between Canadians and Americans. I never saw that. I always thought we were like best friends. But evidently there's some competition between us. Do you guys feel that? I've never felt that way. I always thought we were like best friends. Aren't we like neighbors and best friends? Like I remember when I first moved to Australia, people would ask me, "Oh, do you get along with Americans?" I think they think that we're at war or something, or don't get along. I said, "No, I think aren't we friends?" Like I remember thinking that was odd, how other people see Canadians and Americans, and maybe it's different from the way I see us. New Zealand, we used to ski in Queenstown. We lived in Australia for many years, and we'd ski down in Queenstown. Gorgeous down there, just gorgeous. God, talk about a beautiful little village, or is it a city or a town? Or, gee, it was beautiful. It was mostly Europeans there. It was interesting. I thought it would be a lot of Australians. It wasn't. It was a lot of Europeans. So yeah, it was really interesting. Beautiful town. Dinner is early. Everyone's been saying that you all have dinner early at Thanksgiving. It's interesting. Some people do, like they have Christmas lunch too. They don't do Christmas dinner. Okay. Tips for toddler teeth brushing. Almost two. Not much. Just make it happen. It doesn't have to be good. I force that. There's certain things I do force. That's one of them because it has to happen. You're not always going to get their compliance, but what I do is I force, like if they say no, 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 I would grab them, I would strong arm them, and I would get that toothbrush in their mouth. It wouldn't be a very good job at all, but just the toothbrush has to touch their teeth, and then the next time you just keep doing it, they'll eventually give in because they realize they're not going to get their own way. The teeth have to be brushed. It's like they have to eat, they have to go to bed. You know, you're sort of forcing them to sit and have food. You're sort of forcing them to sit to go to bed. There's certain things that you just need to force. But don't don't brush every single tooth and go like that. Just start small. You have to win these battles. You have to win the battles where you're meeting their needs, especially like that. They have to go to bed. They have to get their teeth brushed. They have to have medicine. You have to strong arm some of these things. You have to get tough with some of this stuff. And then they'll eventually learn, hey, may as well not fight it. It's going to happen anyway. Electric brush makes it more fun for them. Sometimes some of them are afraid of it. They don't like the feeling. It scares them. So, try it out though, that your kid might like it. What's the best way to potty train? That's a whole system. I can't go into it here, but it's a whole system. And it's in my boot camp course for toddlers. So it's a party. And I trained my son in one day at 2.5 years old, my daughter, same age, in 2 days. No pull-ups, no night diapers, nothing. But yeah, I was already a leader, so it made it easier for me. But it's a good way to exercise your leadership skills. Don't buy any courses tonight. The Black Friday sale starts tomorrow morning. Check out BratBusters.com if you want to know more about that. Another way to brush their teeth too, and I do this with a lot of stuff, is, and when I say strong arm them or whatever that means, but you just have to hold them down and make stuff happen sometimes, right? You just have to. So like medicine, you have to get it into them. You can't always get them to comply. So and then they'll eventually learn there's no point fighting mom. Like my kids knew the difference. If mom came in and said, you're getting your medicine, they were more likely to just let me give it to them. Whereas if their dad had said that, they were more likely to try and negotiate and get out of it, right? Because they knew mom was the one who was going to make it happen. So yeah, you just have to be that parent sometimes. And it's not mean because it's stuff that they need to do. I see that as kindness, to be honest. 2-year-old taking ornaments off the Christmas tree. Yeah, what I did with my kids, and I'm not saying this is what you should do, but this is what I did. I always wanted to make my life as easy as possible with toddlers. I completely child-proofed my home. So when we put a tree up, I put it in the playpen. If they were getting old enough to get through that, then I put it in the corner in the living room, and I put the furniture in front of it. So I had the big couch in front of the Christmas tree. And so, yeah, and it looked ridiculous, but yeah, I just tried to make my life easier. And then I put it up on a table behind there too, so it was higher so you could see it. So it wasn't all hidden by the couch. But yeah, I just wanted to make my life easy with toddlers. And one of the ways to do that is to childproof. Well, I don't know how to answer this, Monica. What do I do with a 7-year-old who's a perfectionist and people pleaser? That's could be low self-esteem. Nothing I do is good enough, or if I do something, it has to be perfect. And I hope people like me. That's low self-esteem. It says maybe you're not a leader. Children who have a leader as a parent tend to have high self-esteem because you bring out the best in them. And it's okay to make mistakes because you make them too. Mistakes are not the problem. It's the lack of accountability that's the problem. Okay, it's okay to make mistakes so long as you're accountable for them. It's not the mistakes that's the problem. It's the lack of accountability in society, basically. We're all going to make mistakes. That's human. But are you accountable for them? It's like when I see those idiots out front arguing about parking tickets. They know they're in the wrong, but they still attack the poor parking ticket person. That's an idiot to me. It's just no brain cells going on there. I was just in there for 5 bleeping minutes. You bleep, bleep, bleep. Do you enjoy your job? Do you feel guilt? Can you sleep at night? What is wrong with that idiot? I just feel like saying, what is wrong with you? It's just, that's a lack of accountability. They knew they broke the law. They knew they were illegally parked, but they still bully and berate and emotionally and verbally attack someone. Isn't that nuts? Because they were raised without accountability. I've got a really funny story, but I don't think it'll fit in here, but I want to tell it. No, I can't. It doesn't really fit in here. Never mind. It's about accountability. Okay. When a child is a perfectionist or an adult is a perfectionist, you know what that says to me too? Is perfectionism isn't a positive thing, by the way. Wanting to do a good job is positive, but perfectionism says it's not okay to not be perfect. It's such an insecure place of origin. I've got to be perfect or else I'm not. And then they often brag about it. See, validate me. See how good this was? It's all based on insecurity. Children with leaders tend to have a lot of security. They tend to be very secure. They tend to have a lot of confidence. So that's what that says to me. Whenever I hear, oh, he's such a perfectionist, I'm like, aw, low self-esteem. Or it's just, you see where I'm coming from with that? It's like, it's not okay to not be perfect. And then they often brag about, oh, it's just absolutely perfect. And I'm like, oh, snore, boring. Who cares? Yeah. So don't make perfectionism a thing. Make it trying your best, try hard, but perfectionism is overrated. It's usually it's not a positive thing. Yes, my son wants to be perfect. I'm better than him, right? I'm better than him, right? Who's better? It's sad. I want him to be better. Want to be strong and know we all make mistakes. Start with the behavior board. You are on there. Your rule and your consequence is showing him, look, we're all human, and use it like it's lighthearted. Your consequence is doing something ridiculous, like you have to do a TikTok dance or something. Like make it fun and goofy. It's okay to not be perfect. Anyone who strives to be perfect and impress people, I always kind of pity them. Like as adults, I always think, wow, you think that little, like loosen up, just be fun. They're never fun, by the way, those people. They're always boring and this is just a kid. He's only little. He can learn this, right? A lot of kids start out that way. So yeah, you don't want him to be that way as an adult. Think about the pressure you put on yourself if you're a perfectionist. I was talking like this once. Some of my clients are child psychologists, and I don't want to quote. I don't even want to say what this was because I get it all wrong. But they totally agreed about perfectionism. It often leads to depression and lots of issues because they're so hard on themselves. It often can be underlying other stuff too. But he's only 7. But it's not. Perfectionism is really a sign of other things. But he's so little, he can fix all that. Kids talking toilet words, 5 years old. So put down no bad words on the behavior board. And when he does, there's a consequence. We all learn through consequences. That's what life is. We learn through consequences. That's why I pay for groceries before I leave the store. I don't want to get arrested. That's why I pay for all my expenses in my home. I don't want to be kicked out. Like if I don't pay the bills, my electricity is going to be cut off and stuff like that. All our whole adult lives are led by consequences. So that the earlier your children learn this, the better they're going to succeed in life out there all by themselves when they're adults. It's about being accountable, being responsible. Something I told my kids too was I said, never be proud of the gifts you've been given. If you're really smart or really beautiful, never be proud of that, because that's a gift you should be grateful for. Be proud of how you treat people. Be proud of the effort that you make. But never be proud of the gifts you were given. It's kind of arrogant. Like, how can you be proud of being beautiful if you were born that way? What did you do to earn it? Pride should come from what you did, what you earned, not from what you were given. Be grateful for those things. I always taught my kids that. My daughter's very pretty. She just was, I remember when she was 3, I was terrified someone was going to snatch her. She got offered modeling contracts and everything. We were just approached on the street by big agencies. She was just gorgeous when she was a toddler. And I said no to everything. I never wanted to emphasize her looks. But yeah, I always turned down everything she was offered. Everything. Because I never wanted her to lead with her looks. And she's so unaware of that. She never leads with how she looks, ever. It's not her way. Very proud of that. Okay. Oh, this is D. Jackman. My daughter will be 2 next month, and I want to get rid of her pacifier. Do you have advice in regards to that? The pacifier, the dummy, the soother. What else do people call that? There's another word. What else is that? Anyway, I'll tell you what I did with my son. He was 18 months old, and I decided to get rid of the dummies. But we lived in Australia. We were going to go back and visit my family in Canada. So I thought and it's a 24-hour trip with a layover and that. Oh, it was awful. Binky. Oh, someone put Bucky. We used to call Binky is another one. Yeah. It can also be a blanket. A binky is anything soothing, I think. Anyway, so I thought there's no way I'm taking this dummy away from this 18-month-old and doing a 24-hour trip. There's no way. So I let him, by the way, he never slept for 24 hours. And his eyes were this big by the time we got to Canada. He just, I guess he was awake. I'm not sure. But anyway, he was all red around the eyes. It was really funny. So anyway, what I did was I waited till we got home, and I was really stupid because we got home and I had massive, what's that called? All my time zones were all mixed up. I forgot what that's called right now. Anyways. And so I was not quite right in the head. I was exhausted, and so was he. And I thought, today's the day. We just got home yesterday. Today I'm going to take the dummies away. I don't know why I decided to do that. So anyway, jet lag, that's what it is. So anyway, I said to him, okay, no more dummies. You're a big boy now. And I got him a sippy cup instead. So get them something to replace it with. Don't just take one thing away, replace it with something else. You're a big boy now. Here's your new cup. So anyway, I gave him that. And I got him to collect all the dummies. I made a show of it, right? I put them all out on the counter and whatever. So I said, here, put them all in this bag. And then here, we'll tie up the bag. And then I carried him out to the big garbage bin, the wheelie bin, that the lid goes up. And he knew when something went in there, it wasn't coming out again. So anyway, I lifted up the lid and I said, bye-bye, dummies. And he threw them in there. And then I thought, what did I just do? I've got jet lag. He's got jet lag. He does have tantrums. They're either born to have them or they're not. And he had tantrums. And I thought, what have I done to myself? How stupid was I? Do you know he never asked for one once? Never cried about it? Nothing. But every so often, he'd be doing something and he'd go like this. And then he'd look over at me and I would look away really fast. There's no way I would get eye contact when he was looking for a dummy. He was fine. He never asked for them again, ever. Also, I don't recommend that you let them have them at night or certain times because they don't understand exceptions. Why can they have it at night and they can't have it during the day? So yeah, just dump them and go through any tantrums that you have to. That was a fluke. I think I lucked out with that. Normally he would have had tantrums over something like that. But yeah, I just lucked out because he knew once they went in there. But at 18 months old, they don't always think things through. I was really shocked that he was okay with that. But yeah, just like pulling off a Band-Aid, just make it happen. Thanks for joining me on Thanksgiving. I'm sure some of you are having Thanksgiving, but I understand from what you've been saying that you tend to have it like more earlier, like a late lunch kind of thing. So maybe that's more common. I got lucky. She only wants them at night. Yeah, it is hard getting rid of those things. There's a lot, and the heart, that's easier than thumb sucking though. What do? You can't get rid of their thumb, right? That's harder. And bitters or anything, they don't work. They just suck off the bitters and then they're down to what they want. Do you know, I knew someone once who sucked his thumb. I guess he did it while he was sleeping at night. Oh, look, I got fireworks around me because I put my thumbs up. Anyway, he, as an adult, has no thumbprints because he sucked his thumb so much growing up. Matt, he'd be a great criminal. So I think if you want your kids to be criminals, just encourage thumb sucking and then they won't have a thumbprint. A lot of 2-year-old discipline stuff. I'm just going to pull away from that for a minute because I don't want people tuning in to think that it's just about toddler discipline here, because that's the most questions I get. But toddlers are all about consistent corrective actions. They're not about words. So I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. And then I like to mix other stuff in too, because really I specialize in teenagers, but most people who turn up on the lives, I have toddlers obviously and ask a lot of toddler stuff. Someone said once or a few times, they've said, do you also talk about older kids? And I thought, yeah, I specialize in teenagers. Most of my coaching clients have older kids. But yeah, most people on here have toddlers. So I just want you to know it's not just about toddlers here. That's all. Okay, but I will read out the top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. I have lots of videos on toy rotation. Number 3, when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. You don't go to the nail salon with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill. They just look at you differently when you go in their world. Number 4 is similar. You discipline a toddler in their world. They're not about words and discussing feelings and emotions and all that garbage. They're about actions. You use consistent corrective actions when they're naughty and you want to train them out of something. And number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years. In the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. They're just brand new. They're just forming. We got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. Cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. I just want to read something out that I thought was so cute. One of my clients has a 3-year-old little boy and a 15-month-old little girl. And the 15-month-old, to get the older brother's attention, she would go up and hit him. Well, of course, he'd knock her flat, right? Because she'd get in his face and hit. She'd trying to get his attention. So the mom wanted me to help her fix this. So I said, okay, so we had like the rule on the behavior board for the little boy. You have to be 3 and over to be on that, was no hitting. So after about a week or two, the mother said, I couldn't believe my eyes. She came over as usual and hit him. Instead of hitting her back, which he had always done before, he took her hand, walked her over to the board and said, see, no hitting. Is that the cutest thing you ever heard? How adorable is that? That's why I love coaching. Oh God, I just love that. I thought that was so freaking cute. Another thing I thought was cute was another parent. I get permission for all these stories, but I don't use names, obviously. But anyway, 4.5-year-old wanted to fudge the timer. The mom had put the timer on. She had to leave the room. And the timer was he had to do something within 5 minutes or something. Well, he didn't do it, but he was smart. She said he didn't add another 5 minutes to the timer. Just before the bell went off, he only added 1.5 minutes. And she could see him on some monitor doing it. He was going like this, thinking about it. And then he just added 1.5 minutes or something. Because he thought, no, if I add another 5 minutes, she'll clue in. Oh, God, I love kids. I thought that was cute. Okay. It's funny that he knew they had a monitor. Sometimes this cracks me up. They know that you've got a monitor and you can see them, but in those moments they forget because he was really little. I thought that was cute. Or they turn around with their back to the camera, thinking that, oh, you'll never catch on. And she said that what was funny is she knew exactly how much time he'd put on that timer because she was timing it on her watch at the same time. So she went in there and confronted him with that. And she goes, he looked like he'd been caught with his, hand in the candy jar. Okay. My daughter and I filmed a couple of podcasts today, and my daughter said something interesting. She goes, we're asking people's advice, what they want me to talk about on a podcast or us to talk about. And then I said, yeah, I said, that's all good. But a lot of coaching is me talking about stuff that they don't think to ask. Like, obviously, I'm giving them new information about kids, right? So I said, well, here's a bunch of ideas I want to talk about. The parents, they asked me in coaching, or I might just bring it up, right, in coaching. So anyway, today we're doing this was a few days ago. So today we're doing the podcast, and I never know what we're going to talk about ahead of time because I don't work that way. I can't work that way. So anyways, so she said, oh, today we're talking about this. And I said, what a great topic. And she goes, Mom, that was yours. And I'm complimenting, wow, that was brilliant. Then the next one, we filmed a couple of them. The next one comes up and she goes, oh, and we're talking about this. And I said, wow, what a great topic. It was all my own ideas. Wow, aren't I fabulous? It was funny. Anyway, we leave all that stuff in the podcast. What you see is what you get with the podcast. That is us. Okay, I got to get going over to TikTok. If you want to join us over there, that's great. If not, you can check out my website, BratBusters.com. The Black Friday sale on the bootcamp courses starts tomorrow. Okay, and that's all at BratBusters.com if you want more information. So happy parenting. I'm heading over to TikTok. Bye now. Sorry, YouTube, it just takes me a while. There's a lot of buttons to push here. More than you would think necessary. There we go. Okay. My email inbox is so much quieter today because it is Black Friday, or not Black Friday, because it's Thanksgiving. It's unbelievable. My email inbox, and my daughter does most of the emails, but I get a lot with coaching. I get all those ones, and it's usually pretty busy every day. But yeah, Thanksgiving, it's like Christmas Day, like that kind of thing. Okay. By the way, I just wanted to say, every so often I like to express my appreciation for your loyalty and following me. I'm very grateful for that. I started here on TikTok, I think it was 2 years ago. I just started all by myself in my bathroom, holding my phone all shaky, not because I was nervous, just because holding your phone and talking. And so I was holding my phone in my bathroom mirror, talking about parenting. And it was on TikTok. My daughter kept saying, you got to go on TikTok, Mom, it's made for you. And I had no social media presence at all. It was very sporadic. I wasn't into it. I get most of my clients through referrals and doctors and that sort of thing, and teachers and that. So, but yeah, I went on TikTok and I just blew up overnight. I couldn't believe it. And then about a year in, my daughter says, Mom, you got to get on Instagram and Facebook. I'll help you. So she went in there, and then with her help, everything just got busier and busier. So I just want to say thank you so much. You've enabled me to provide a job for my daughter. She was already doing well anyway, but now she's my business partner. And thanks to your support, we're working together full time. And that's probably one of my biggest joys in life. My kids, my granddaughter, and my daughter working with me, I would say, are probably, my biggest joys in life. So, and that's thanks to you, your following. And it's not to say that you're doing it for me, but I just appreciate the fact that you are getting value out of what I'm saying. And because I really believe in what I'm saying. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing this for 50 years, but I've been teaching it for about 20. So I really believe in what I teach. It's not for everybody, I'm sure, but nothing's for everybody. So anyway, do you have a series for toddlers? Yes, I have a boot camp course for toddlers. And not for toddlers, for parents of toddlers. If you want to check that out, the Black Friday sale starts tomorrow. So you can check that out. Also, I'm now taking, we've changed our payment options. So you can pay anyway. Like you could only pay on PayPal before for the last 17 years, but we just updated it. Now you can pay credit card, Google Pay, other pay. I don't know. What other ways can you pay? I don't know. Anyway, how do you deal with defiance? Defiance comes from lack of leadership. They're not defiant against a leader. My sons, they can't rebel against a leader. It's impossible. My son was 15, and he says, oh, you've been a really difficult mom because I had nothing to rebel against. You're too reasonable and easy to talk to. He was mad when he said it. And I was like, oh, sorry, sweetie. That was funny. Yeah, you give them nothing to be defiant against. Leaders they can't defy against a leader. You'll see, check it out. Keep following me. You'll get it. What about moody teens? How to deal with a teen with back talk? You ignore that stuff. Ignore attitude. There's nothing you can do about it. You'll get very little of that when you know how to talk to teenagers. You'll sometimes get it. It's just normal. But yeah, you just ignore that stuff unless they're extremely rude. But then you want to work on yourself. You want to work on respect. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. They're my favorite age, by the way. I specialize in teenagers. Once you get good at talking and understanding them and respecting them, they're fantastic. Okay, they're my favorite age by far. Just because they're so interesting, right? They're so developed. Now, this is my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they're going to ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate as much as possible. It goes something like this. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Number 3 is with teenagers, don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did this morning? It's okay to make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. Number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. When should you discuss the bad times with your teenagers? When they've really driven you nuts and they're rude and everything? Never. What's the point? It's only going to cause problems. Number 5, you can be a right fighter or you can be happy with teenagers. You can't be both. You can be a right fighter or you can be happy. There's a lot of right fighters out there. Oh yeah, I'm right because of this and you're wrong because of that. Does that ever work? No. Silence is golden. They already know you're right. You don't need to tell them. Okay. I'm trying to, okay, I don't use that word. I don't discuss other parenting methods. Yeah, I don't critique other parenting methods. I've never studied them. I only teach what I know. And I don't know anybody else out there who's teaching parenting. Nobody. I've never looked at it. The only reason I know generally what's being taught that's popular is because my clients want me to fix all that stuff, right? Well, it wasn't working, so this is what we were doing. So I have an idea what's out there, but I don't know anybody who's teaching it. So I don't critique other parenting methods. I've been asked to be on some really popular TV shows on a panel discussing parenting methods with other parenting coaches. That is not me at all. What would be the value? What would I learn from that? What would be the value? Everything I'm taught, I go to kids, I go right to the source. They taught me all this. Why on earth would I want to argue with other people? Tacky. I'll tell you something funny though. I'm on TikTok now, and this is really funny. I've told it before, but when I went on TikTok, I blew up overnight, and I'm different, right? Evidently. And so I was getting a lot of attention from other people teaching parenting. They were coming on, they were trashing me. And how you teach parenting, you're in the caring field and you're bullying other people. They just didn't get it, right? You know what was funny is some really, I was told all this. I don't know anything about all this stuff, but some people were showing me this. They were doing duet videos. These are some really big people in the parenting field. They were doing duet videos with me and insulting everything I was doing, saying I was horrible, I was stupid. And I was getting all their followers. They were building my channel and they didn't even know it. And I started to feel guilty because every time they do a duet video, I get like 30,000 new subscribers that day. And they weren't figuring it out. So finally, I started in doing my lives, I started saying, by the way, you're probably watching, but you're not admitting it. You're the ones who are growing my channel. So thanks for that. All the duet videos stopped overnight. Isn't that hilarious? Yeah, I believe in karma. I really do. Put good stuff out. I don't care what kind of bad stuff's hurled at me. I'm just putting good stuff out there. And yeah, I just thought that was so funny. But yeah, I couldn't take it anymore. Like I just had to let them know what they were doing. I actually felt bad for them. And why are you threatened? There's lots of room for all of us. Like I don't believe in one way for everybody. There's lots of room for all of us. If I resonate with you, then follow my advice. If someone else resonates with you, follow their advice. There are 2 criteria, though, I would say. I would never take parenting, because parenting is all experience-based. I would never take parenting advice from someone who hasn't finished the job. How on earth do they know where they're going? If they only have young children, and if they're struggling with kids who are 7, 8, 9 years old, they're not doing it right. So yeah, if they haven't got it all figured out by 3 or 4, and they're still struggling with older kids and they're teaching parenting, run, because those are the easy years. So they have to have finished the job with their own kids. They have to have lived with teenagers and have successful functioning adults out there. That's the That's the training, right? Also, they had to have worked with hundreds of other kids, because how can they talk to you if they haven't experienced what you're going through with your kids? So I'm sure there's lots of other people out there with those qualifications, but that's what it takes to teach parenting, because it is all encompassing. The only way that you can, because I do get people who want to teach parenting and they want my advice on how to do that. And I'll say just niche on potty training or bedtime battles or something if you haven't got all that experience, because there's no way you should be talking big picture parenting if you haven't lived with teenagers and raised them into adulthood and you haven't worked with hundreds of other kids, teenagers and everything. Because you got to know the whole picture before you can teach it. Otherwise, you're just taking a snippet. How do you know if what you're doing in that little snippet is going to invest in the teen years? So yeah, just be cautious with that. Taking advice from someone who hasn't finished the job is like taking financial advice from someone who only has $10 in the bank. They have to have finished the job with their own kids, because a lot of what works with young children backfires big time in the teen years, and they just don't know it yet. Oh, it's funny when you're talking to each other. I think you're talking to me and I get all mixed up. I'm not very good on this stuff. I'm like, what? So true. My biggest accomplishment is my relationship with my adult children. Yeah, that's sort of the PhD. Are you friends with your kids, your adult kids? Do you have mutual respect going? Yeah. And I get asked this too. I've got a grandchild now. My son has a child, and a lot of people ask me, "Well, do you give them advice?" No, that's insulting. They're doing a fantastic job, by the way. So that's insulting. If they ask me something, I'll answer it, but more like from a grandmother's perspective. But yeah, no, I don't give advice. They're doing a great job. And if I was to give unsolicited advice, that's actually insulting them. It would be like giving advice. By the way, you know what you should wear? Could you imagine saying that to a friend? Do you know what you should wear? Do you know how much weight you should lose? It's passive aggressive. Unsolicited advice is passive aggressive. It's just insults. Think about it. Say to a friend, do you know how much weight you should lose? You know what you should do? You know how you should work out? How would a friend take that advice? Okay. That's why I don't tell my kids how to live their lives. I love them. I don't want to insult them. And they're doing great anyway. We are friendly, but I'm their mom. They don't have another one. Yeah, I'm mom before I'm anything else, for sure. But we're also peers, friends, buddies. But yeah, I'm always mom before I'm anything else. That's my number one rule. And no, being a grandmother is nowhere near as much fun, because I have to hand her back. I loved parenting. It was the most fun I ever had. But my granddaughter, I have to hand her, she belongs to someone else. But I figure I can't get a car seat in my car right now. But if I got a different car and put a car seat in there, I could probably drive off with her and they wouldn't know where I went. I'm plotting this. Yeah, I have to hand her back. That's no fun. What do you do with grandparents that want a redo for their parenting experience? Tell them mind their own business. Yeah, I just don't get that. I just don't get it. I can't relate. I'm a grandmother. I can't relate to that. So yeah, it's not about them. That's the whole thing. It's not about them. It's not their kids. None of their business. The only time I would ever intervene is if there was some damage being done. You know what I mean? Abuse or something. There's none of that. Why on earth would I need to push my way or push my advice on someone else? I think it's arrogant and mean. Oh, good question. Does everyone involved in my child's care have to have the same boundaries, rules? Absolutely not. You're the only leader. Let everyone else deal with your kids however they do. That's their business. Like if you're handing kids over to someone else, their rules. If you trust someone enough to hand your kid over to them, don't micromanage them. Allow them to do it. Your kids adjust very quickly back to your leadership. They just do. Too much fun being a grandma. It is fantastic. It's funny when they pop out, the love is exactly the same. You never know, right? As soon as I saw her, the first time I saw her, I was like, oh my God, it's just like when it's your own. You love them just as much. You just don't get to keep them because they're someone else's kid. But the love's exactly the same. I didn't know. I thought it would be, but I didn't know it happened that fast. Super snowy Prince George. Yeah, sorry, Katie. Oh, you probably like the snow though. It's not bad if you don't have to drive in it. It's actually beautiful. I can walk everywhere. I live downtown, so I don't need to worry about driving in the snow. But yeah, it is beautiful to look at for sure. I know you answer toddler questions often, but I need help. 19-month-old tantrums. Okay, this is how you deal with a tantrum. You completely ignore it. You're filing your nails. You're there though. And it's important not to get into a conversation with someone or look on your phone. You want to look like you know they're having a tantrum, but you're just waiting for it to end. You're just looking at the trees. You just don't look at them or talk to them. If they're hitting themselves or getting violent, then you physically restrain them, but still don't look at them or talk to them. So you're just like you're waiting. As soon as it's over, then you go, oh, you all done? Okay, let's go read a book. And then they want to hug and all that. Don't do that. You're okay. Let's go read a book. The hugging and the consoling makes it look like you feel sorry for them. It's sort of rewarding the tantrum in a way, but you ignore the crazy, which is the tantrum. A tantrum is not emotions. It's a lack of emotional control and not getting their own way. There's a difference. Okay. So, but yeah, you ignore the crazy and reward the calm. You reward it with attention, not all this hugging and soothing. That's not a time to love a child up. Love them up any other time. But you never do it around a tantrum, because that's actually condoning and encouraging more tantrums. If they think there's a whole bunch of love and all sorts of fun stuff coming with a tantrum, they're going to keep having them. So just keep it more low key. You're all right. Let's go read a book. They'll eventually. It takes time though. When you deal with tantrums this way, they are diminishing in frequency, intensity, and duration over time. It takes time. And there are 4 things children are born to do or they're never going to do. It's in their DNA. They're born with this. One is tantrums, one is climbing, one is running, and one is aggression. They're either going to hit or they're never going to hit. It's in their DNA. It's just something they're born to do. It's not your fault they do any of the. It's funny. Someone said, my kid does all 7. It's only 4. I love humor. Anyway, so, but yeah, it's not your fault that they do those things, but it's your job to teach them out of those things. But it takes time, right? They're just little. Both parents have to be leaders or just one. We just did a podcast on that. We just filmed it. It'll be out. I don't know when. I don't know which. I lose track of what podcasts are out there. Anyway, they only need one leader, but the other parent cannot undermine the leader. They have to leverage the leadership sometimes, like say, oh, let's check with mom or let's check with dad, whoever. So you have to be on the same page, but there only has to be one leader. Oftentimes there are 2 leaders, but there's usually one that's just that little bit stronger. The leader is the one that's usually the one they want to play with the most, the one that they go to and tell everything to. The leader is actually the prized role. A lot of people think it's the mean role. It's not. It's the one that does the disciplining, but that's where you get the respect, right? So yeah, the leader is the prized role. And I often am hired by parents and they'll fight over who has to be the leader. After about the 3rd or 4th session, they'll fight over who gets to be the leader. They understand that is the prized role. That's the one that's the most connected to the kids. That's the one that brings out the best in the kids, so the kids are drawn to the leader. Whoever brings out the best in you and makes you feel good about yourself is the person you're drawn to, and that is the leader. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I'm in Canada, so we had ours about 6 weeks ago, and our Thanksgiving isn't nearly as big a deal as it is in America. And also, I raised my kids in Australia. There's no Thanksgiving at all there. So yeah, I spent most of my life really not celebrating Thanksgiving. And also, my birthday's around Thanksgiving here, so it was kind of more my birthday focus to me anyway. I didn't know you're Canadian too. Yeah, I'm Canadian, Vancouver, and I'm also Australian. That's where my kids were born and raised. It's not bad cop, good cop, because the leader is the good cop. Where's the bad cop? There is no bad cop. The leader is the one they're drawn to. It's just the way it is. When you get into it, you start to get it. You go, oh, I see. It is the prized role. That is what you want. Yeah, it is, for sure. The leader is the one they'll tell everything to right through the teen years. You're the safe place to land. You're the non-judgmental one. You're the one that you just build confidence in them. An example of a leader, I worked with troubled teens. One of them said to me once, I didn't like myself until I met you, Lisa. That was probably one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me. I didn't like myself until I met you, Lisa. Wow, that's powerful. That's what a leader does. That's a leader. Now, would you want that? Do you see that as bad cop? See, there is no cop. You know what I mean? It's like, I know how to give respect to get it. I know how to make kids feel good about themselves. That's what leadership's all about. What about wait till your dad gets home? That's a threat. I don't do threats. Yeah. You can say, well, I'll discuss that with your dad when he gets home, but I wouldn't threaten with him. Do you think your parents did a good job parenting you? Yes and no. They let way too much go. I would have been a lot tougher on me. But I didn't want to disappoint my mother. My mother was the leader. I could never disappoint my dad. He thought the sun shone out of my butt. But my mom, she saw me for who I was. She didn't have sugar-coated, my dad just didn't see me. He had rose-colored glasses. But she should have shown disappointment more often when I did stuff. So she let too much go. I wouldn't have parented me the way they did. But my mom was very good at raising very confident kids with high self-esteem. Both my brother and I could talk to anyone. We have high self-esteem and we're pretty confident. So my mom did that. She was a brilliant listener. And, but yeah, if she ever showed disappointment, a little part of me died because I looked up to her. I really did. My dad, I adored, but he died when I was younger, unfortunately, but he was more the pleaser. And I remember when I was little, Dad, and this is the way I imitate myself. I don't know if I sounded like this, but I probably did. Daddy, can I please have that? And then my dad would say, sure. And he'd call me Sweetie Pie. Sure, Sweetie Pie, you can have anything you want. Thanks, Daddy. And then, but then he learned, I think Mom had talked to him. He learned to say, oh, wait a minute, let's go check with Mom. And I'd say, oh, never mind. Because I knew Mom would say, are you kidding me, Phil? Don't give her that. So yeah, they made me feel great about myself. They were there, but they weren't as strict as I would have liked if I'd raised myself. I would have raised me a bit more strict. That's all. But overall, they were fantastic. I've never been yelled at or anything. They were very loving parents. I was lucky, and I was adopted. So they adopted me late, like later in life. I love being adopted. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was such I just thought being adopted because you're chosen, right? There's no doubt that you're wanted when you're adopted. So yeah, I always felt very lucky that I was adopted. But I look very different. I have light green eyes and huge hair, like huge. Half of it's fall now because I'm in my 60s now. But when I was younger, I always had freakishly big hair, like Farrah Fawcett, but more. It's huge hair. And no one else in the whole family had that. So I always stood out as the very obviously adopted. It was funny. Did you ever act out because of them being easy on you? Yes and no. I probably was a bit more spoiled, but then my dad died young, so all that ended. When I was 14 when he died, but I was 10 when he got sick. So my whole life was turned upside down after that. But I did definitely, I never wanted to do it. Like I would never have a tantrum, and I never wanted to embarrass myself. I remember I had a lot of pride, so it kind of kept me in check. And I was raised around a bunch of adults. My brother was like 16 years older, so I wasn't raised with kids. So I was very good at talking to adults. But yeah, I probably, did I act out? I didn't do bratty things really. So no, I had a lot of pride. I never wanted to look silly. That would have really embarrassed me. And I remember seeing other kids have tantrums thinking, wow, how embarrassing. And my daughter was the same. She's never had a tantrum. My son had them. He was like, he could have cared less what anyone thought. He'd just have a tantrum. So, but my daughter was born the same way. We both had that pride. We'd be really embarrassed to make a scene or anything. So yeah, I didn't like anything like that. So overall, yeah, I was a pretty good kid, I think. And my mom and I were best friends for sure. Especially as I got older, we were really close. And my mom was the one, when did you know? I was 2 when I was told I was adopted. So I grew up thinking that was a benefit in life, and I was bragging about it. And other kids were getting jealous because I was chosen and they weren't. So my mom had to set me straight and say, other kids are loved too. Just because they're had doesn't mean they're not loved. But I grew up thinking being adopted was a real prize. Like I was just so lucky. Yeah, I thought it was a great thing. What was I saying just before that? Can't remember. I can't remember. Oh, I don't know. Oh, but my mom and I being friends. Oh, what was that? Oh, I know. Whenever my friends went, my mom she was just amazing. Everyone loved my mom. She was very funny. very positive. She was a joy-seeking missile. I've actually got a blurb on her on my website. She died 8 years ago in my arms at 93 years old. I mean, talk about lucky. I was right there. And it was a beautiful goodbye. And, but yeah, she was an amazing woman. She was a real inspiration to me because she always said, sweetie, happiness is not a choice, is not a circumstance, it's a choice. So she goes, I wake up every day and I choose to be happy. She was just had a beautiful energy about her. She was always positive. She treated everyone beautifully. She was just a really warm, funny, interesting woman. Everyone adored my mom. And I can remember my friends would come over and sit and talk to her for hours and I'd just be standing there. Like, everyone loved my mom. She was very special. No, I never met my biological parents. I just found out maybe 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, I actually found someone through one of those DNA tests, and it was a cousin of my biological mother. And she said, oh, you've got the hair, the big hair, even though it's a lot thinner now, but even at this age. But she said, oh, you've got the hair of the family, and I've got lime green eyes. They're really light. And she goes, that's the family trait. And also, oh, I know, this was interesting. I don't have gray hair. And I'm 64 years old. She goes, yeah, you'll never go gray. She goes, we don't go gray. Interesting. So I can be in my 80s and still have brown hair. So I thought that, because that's interesting. People always think I dye my hair because I'm old, right? But I don't. But yeah, so that was it. I've never had anyone I could, because I mean, my kids are my biological kids, but they're young. So I don't know what's coming when I look at them. Whereas that was interesting to hear that, because I thought, oh, that's why I don't have gray hair, because it is unusual at my age. But anyway, so it's interesting. I could have I always thought I was French and Irish. My mom got that wrong. She read it wrong. I'm Norwegian. And, but I always celebrated St. Paddy's Day. Oh, a little bit of the Irish in me. Turns out I ain't got no Irish in me. They could have told me I was from anywhere. I would have believed it. Okay, what time is it? Sorry, I was rambling on a little bit, but it's just had a weird day today. So anyway, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out the Black Friday sale. It starts tomorrow morning. It's all on my website, BratBusters.com, and also my podcast is going great. We're going to be doing 2 episodes a week because it's just going so well. We didn't know. I mean, so it's my daughter and I are doing it together. She's my business partner, and so we're doing it together, having a blast. And she's loosening up. She's more conservative in public. She doesn't like being in front of the camera, but it's loosening up, and things are coming out. It's really fun. So anyway, we're just loving that. So thanks so much for joining me. Happy Thanksgiving to all my wonderful American friends, and happy Thursday to everybody else. Okay, take care. Bye now.